Welcome to Wine and Crime and our active cold case series, where we uncork a bottle and dig into cold cases that still demand justice. Today's case is chilling, not just because of how a young woman vanished, but because everyone saw it coming. This is the case of April Grisanti, a 20-year-old woman from Norwalk, Connecticut, who disappeared in 1985 after being violently abducted by a man with a known history of abuse and a deadly past. It was just after midnight when 20-year-old April Grisanti was last seen alive. Hours earlier, she'd gotten into a heated argument with her boyfriend, James Purple Aaron, at a local bar. James wasn't just angry, he was out of control. Witnesses said he physically forced April into his car outside the bar, and they were later seen arguing again at Anthony's Cafe, a bar on Main Street. At 12:15 a.m, April crossed the street with James to make a phone call. She told a friend she was calling for a ride. She never came back. Multiple people later reported seeing a woman kicking and screaming inside a blue Cadillac, being driven by James. He was seen heading north on Main Street and turning left on New Canaan Avenue. April was still inside, visibly struggling. That was the last time anyone saw her. Hours later, April's car was found near Ann Street, submerged in the Norwalk River. Here's what's heartbreaking. April knew James was dangerous. Just 30 minutes before her disappearance, she told police they'd had a fight and that he'd assaulted her. She was bleeding from her finger. But when officers asked if she wanted to press charges, she said no, and left with James anyway. April's best friend later told investigators that James had been physically abusing her for a while, and April had the bruises to prove it. At first, she made excuses. She thought it was her fault for making him mad. But just before she vanished, April told her mum she was planning to leave James. She'd also started reporting his abuse to the police. This wasn't the first woman to disappear around James Aaron. In 1981, his estranged wife, Mary Aaron, vanished from his home. Her skeletal remains were found a month later in a wooded area behind a commuter lot. The cause of death couldn't be determined, but it was ruled homicide. James was questioned and never charged. April knew this, but reportedly told her mother, "I can't imagine he killed her." In February 1985, just weeks after April vanished, James was finally charged with kidnapping and unlawful restraint. He pleaded guilty, served nearly 6 years, and was released in 1991. April's mother sued him for damages related to her daughter's injuries and won a $50,000 settlement in 1992, but there was no resolution because April was still missing. In 1987, April's family also filed a lawsuit against the Norwalk Police Department, accusing them of ignoring her domestic violence reports and failing to act, even after a bar patron called to say a woman was being beaten and abducted. The case was settled in 1994. April was officially declared legally dead, but her remains have never been found. No murder charges were ever filed. James Purple Aaron died in 2016, still in prison on unrelated charges. He took whatever secrets he had about April and possibly his ex-wife Mary to the grave. Today, April Grisanti would be nearly 60 years old. Her mother never gave up searching for her, and her story remains a painful reminder of the consequences when the system doesn't listen to women in danger. Even decades later, cases like April's can still be solved. If you know anything about what happened the night of February the 1st, 1985, contact the Norwalk Police Department. The contact details are in this video. Someone knows what happened, and even though James is gone, April still deserves to come home.